What is up, my friends? We are back with another episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast. I'm joined by Mr. Conor Crosby and Mr. Chris Stonage. Gentlemen, you remember that win we had a little while ago? That was lovely, wasn't it? That was really nice. I really enjoyed that victory over West Ham. Unfortunately, Mr. Stonage, we don't have another victory to discuss today, my man. So just before we get stuck into the details of the game, just your take on how we managed to throw away the win.
Yeah, what we have to say is we are 3 games unbeaten. So
Yay!
we have to. It's improvements. It's improved. No, I really sort of don't understand how twice a team can sort of shit the bed. Really is the only term for it. Utter stupidity, for one, from Kanate. And
who would have thought it, Chris?
Yeah.
Who would have thought
it's not like he's done. It's a completely one out of the blue incident. He's never done it before. So yeah, completely. That situation happened. I actually thought we did well to get back ahead, and then yeah, just chaotic defending from set piece. Just we've looked like we've forgotten how to defend any of those sort of situations. So yeah, at least we didn't lose.
Yeah, you covered that in the first few seconds, bro. You covered that in the first few seconds. I'll tell you what. We often talk about how a draw comes around, Connor, and Leeds fans would have been leaving Ellen Road absolutely buzzing. They've had a week where they beat Chelsea 3-1. They came back twice against us to get a point. It is crazy the mentality of coming back for a draw versus throwing away a lead.
Yeah, definitely, especially in a context like that, like Leeds down under luck, down towards the bottom of the table. Like you said, getting the win against Chelsea, then the draw against us, like they're more than deserving to be happy with that, like of course. And I just don't know how we capitulated in the end, but yeah, like you said, like if you could get a last minute winner or draw, like a draw goal, like fair enough, you are going to be very happy about. And Leeds fans, rightfully so, yeah, we'll celebrate that one, but this shouldn't have happened.
Chris, what I wanted to see when we started this game against Leeds was us matching their intensity, because you knew what they were going to come with. And I got to say, I actually thought we did to a certain extent. And we were a deserving 2-0 leader at that point in the game. And I have to say, hand on heart, I didn't think we were going to throw away that game from the 2-0 lead that we built up. I really did feel that, okay, I'm seeing something a little bit better here today. But, we'll get to what happened afterwards. But let's just talk about building up to that 2-0 lead.
Oh, you silly man. You had faith.
I did. I really did. I was, dare I say it, I was even getting a bit cocky.
Oh, no. Well, I think, to be honest, the first half, I thought we sort of continued where we left off in the last couple of games. We did look more defensively solid than we did, especially against Forest and PSV, because those two games are consigned to just like some of the lowest points of the low. We did first half. I don't think we really challenged Perry too much. Then as soon as Ekitike got that goal, and then immediately afterwards, which two really, really well taken goals in different ways. Yeah, I wasn't in the same boat as you. I still had little faith that we would hold on. And I thought we'd definitely have to score at least one more. But yeah, no, it was better than West Ham, and it was better. Was it better than Sunderland? I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't great.
So we spent a lot of time in the early parts of this podcast episode talking about the mentality and the shift of mentalities. It was very, very, very clear what was about to happen once we gave away the penalty. Now, at that point, I was in absolutely no doubt that Leeds were going to find a second goal. But I just want to get your take on the whole penalty incident, because it was completely avoidable, in my opinion. I think it was Nanto, if I remember correctly, who had got to the byline. Maybe it wasn't Nanto at that point. I think it may have been.
Was, yeah.
But got to the byline, was about to put a cross in that, yes, Canada could have put a foot out to block or not. But to go to ground like he did, it just was so wrong. It was just so silly, and it was a perfect encapsulation of exactly what Canada is about.
I was about to say, yeah, like if one action sums up his season, it is that. Like, one, the decision to actually go to ground in the first place was bad enough, but then the fact that he mistimed it, took the player out and gave away a needless penalty in a game that was like you would say usually a game like that is dead and buried, but like how many times have we been 2-0 up and then we've let a lead slip this season? Like it's at least 4 or 5 times now, and we're never safe at 2-0. And for Konate to commit and go to ground there is absolutely bonkers. And like you said then, like the momentum switch then is so strong that I think everyone expected Leeds to get second. I was actually shocked when we scored a third. And I was thinking, right, there we go. We're actually showing a bit of mental stability, mental strength here. We're going to actually get it. Oh no, they've scored again. Fair enough. Like, it was just, like you said, the momentum switch and then just the cluelessness to go to ground. It's just, yeah, it just sums it up really.
What really frustrates me, Chris, is that we've been looking and hoping for people to start finding some form and some confidence. And Hugo was flying. You could see it in him. 2 goals in quick succession, bravery to go in on the keeper with the second one. And that could have been, you know, a kickstart for some real confidence building. But again, we come back to a defensive lapse or decision-making lapse on Ibrahim Konate. And it's becoming more than obvious that he is a huge, huge problem, Chris. So I want to get your take on the penalty incident. And then, of course, like myself and Conor just mentioned, the quick capitulation then afterwards.
I don't know if you guys remember this. There's a game, I think it was the Norwich 5-4 game, and Alberto Moreno gave away a really, really stupid penalty where the player was facing away from goal and he just decided to just go in. It reminded me, that split second reminded me of that there was no sort of brain cells in operation there. That's what it was. Just like you just watch him and it's trying to look at what sort of benefit it would have for them for Konate to go in, and he did. In terms of, I agree with Conor that as soon as we got that third goal, I thought, wow, okay, here we are, we've actually gone and done it. But as soon as they got that corner, it's just that sinking feeling, you know, that sinking, oh my God, we're actually going to concede here. And we've had that so many times this season. So when you're having so many individual errors, like consistently, like I would usually say individual errors aren't patterned, like it's not systemic, but actually these individual errors are. So it's frustrating. Konate, time and time again, is the one who's committing it, and he's not being punished for it. We saw last season Kwanzaa get hooked after 45 minutes because he wasn't winning any duels for Konate. Okay, where's the same energy? I don't know.
That's the phrase, Chris, that I've said, which is selective accountability, and that's kind of how I feel about what's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly. Certain people are being sort of punished for poor performances, and others aren't. I understand that there's, you know, players who can't come in and fulfill it, but yeah, Konate, I honestly don't. I don't know. I would take 10 million from now in January. Just let him go. Honestly.
So, Chris, I got to ask the question that everybody at home's thinking, Conor's thinking, I'm thinking, and it can't go unsaid. What's in the Lego bag?
I have no idea.
I actually was thinking of that as well.
I have no idea.
Oh, sure.
Well, Isabel just brought it in. So, yeah, there we go. For those listening on audio, my girlfriend's just walked through the door.
There you go.
It's a Lego.
Oh.
Well, there we are. See.
I hope that's not someone's Christmas present ruined.
It is. But oh well.
I
don't. I'm sure they're not Anfield Agenda fans yet, but I'm sure we can convince them.
There you go. Sorry, Arna. It's ruined now, mate. All done. It's a boat for you to sail away into the sunset on. I actually didn't see what it was, but I'm sure it's
I think it was a bonsai tree or some shit.
Oh, so we're going for that kind of inner peace. I like it.
I think
we
we
do a
need
bit of that, Chris.
We could all do with a bit of that, yeah.
Conor, we talked about the mentality, and they showed a response to go 3-2 up, like yourself and Chris both just said. And like you, mate, I did think that was it. I thought, wow, well done. They found a way. They've gone ahead. But I also have to say, when they got that corner at the end, it didn't surprise me one bit that the ball ended up in the back of the net. And it was so similar to so many others. A ball towards the near post, nobody from our side winning it, and then at the back post, us being outpowered. It was a movie I've seen many times.
It goes back as well to, like, I remember I just watched back the highlights before we started, and like you actually see Curtis Jones looks back, spots him loose, kind of points to be like, can someone get him? And then he still has loads of space at the back. Like, it's somewhere between zonal marking and just not picking up the players, but it is just time and time again. Like you've said, we've seen this film a few times, and it's, yeah, again, no surprise. Like, none of us were shocked to see that goal go in, and I think half was probably expected it, half were a bit optimistic, wrongfully. But yeah, it's just, again, it's the repetitive thing. It's like Konate again, like all these problems keep happening. Nothing happens to change it, and we're just banging our heads against the wall, hoping things change when they're not. Like, it's just consistently bad week in, week out.
So what really struck me, Chris, and again, I'm coming back to mentality here, is there's two managers who are under pressure for the job. Daniel Farke, and Arne Slot. And one of them was able to harness the energy of the home ground twice in a week, get the team set up in a certain way that was different from before, and to get a response from them. And the difference there, I think, speaks volumes, because when we play at home lately, when the manager's under pressure, there's a sense of dread and almost a sense of, are we safe? Can we really see this out? And every time something goes against us, the energy levels seem to drop and drop. Whereas at Ellen Road, complete different, stark contrast.
Yeah. Daniel Farke is like someone who I think has been consistently bashed for being stubborn throughout his entire managerial career. And fair play to him in terms of saving his job. I think he's given himself a bit of time with these two results. I think we have seen some changes from Slot. I thought the Gomez at right back thing did work. I actually think going forward in the first bit of the second half yesterday, Ekitike Wirtz linked up well. But overall, in terms of an entire momentum and in terms of a tactical tweak, we haven't seen lots. Like, not much has changed. Personnel wise, we've seen players be rewarded for mediocrity. We've seen players who've played well not being given minutes. Yeah, I mean, there's a common denominator here, isn't there? And that's
There
the
is.
manager.
Absolutely. Look, lads, I think we've covered enough of the game. Nobody wants to relive it anymore. Let's get to the post-game stuff, because that's, I was sitting here doing my match reaction, and Conor always is very quickly to send me the bits and pieces that come out. And one thing dropped into my WhatsApp inbox, and I looked at it, and Conor said, "Hold fire on this yet. I'm still trying to see if it's real or not." Because that's how surreal this felt, Conor, isn't it? Did he really just come out and say this to the assembled media? 7.5 minutes of laying it all out there. And, we'll talk about should he or shouldn't he have done it, but ultimately, Conor, there's so much double speak around this situation. So I read something today, and I want to say it was from The Athletic, and they said that there was an understanding inside Liverpool that they could see Mohamed Salah was becoming increasingly frustrated with this situation, but yet they did nothing to try and interject the situation. And there's no part of me whatsoever here, Conor, that doesn't think Michael Edwards' fingerprints are all over this Salah situation. I'm not saying Salah shouldn't have been benched, but it is selective accountability, as we're going to get stuck into in a minute. We will hold up 2, 3, 4 other players who could equally be as culpable or deserving of a spot on the bench. So I want to know what your initial take was when you were in that moment, when you were trying to figure out, was this real or not? Where was your head at in that moment? Did you think he said it?
I was a bit shocked. I think where it was coming from, I was thinking this probably is real, and the fact that there's a few people talking about it, but the stuff in it was shocking in the sense that you wouldn't actually expect him to come out and say it. I think a lot of what he said was true, and I agree with a lot of what he said, but the fact that a player of Salah's stature comes out and says these things, it's so damning of the football club. The stuff he said about someone in the club doesn't want me here, saying he basically has been brushed off by Arne Slot, basically has no relationship there anymore. That is shocking. How have we gotten to this point? We won the league 6 months ago, and now we're sitting here struggling. Arne Slot has been called for by 95% of fans to be sacked. There's conspiracy theories around the club ownership. There's Salah coming out doing interviews about everyone wanting to be gone. It's just, how have we got here? 6 months ago we lifted the title, and now this. It's madness. The whole thing is absolutely baffling. The whole situation.
What this shows me, Chris, and again, call me a conspiracy theorist, but what this shows me is that despite all the bluff, bravado, and PR guff about the Liverpool way is a public-facing thing when it suits the club. But when they want to shaft people and stick the knife in behind the back, they're more than happy to do it. And look, Salah probably could have done with a few games on the bench. I don't think anybody's going to question that, and a lot of us called for it. But there's something Chris Williams wrote that has always stood out to me as being the most important journalistic quote of all of this. And he writes, Salah's words are particularly striking, comes after a number of senior players were unhappy when Johnny Heidinga left. But here's the kicker. The relationship between the players and Heidinga is said to have been stronger than that between Arne Slot and the players. That told me everything I needed to know about this situation.
Yeah. To be honest, I hadn't read that, so that's quite interesting. I wouldn't have even delved into that, but that is very, very interesting. So, to be honest, I will hold my hands up and say I usually rubbish talk about assistant managers, because you hear the stuff about Buvac years ago, that was like tiring. But at the moment, yeah, there's something missing. Maybe that was it, and maybe he was the bridge between Arne Slot and the senior players. The thing with the SALAH quotes, like, I really, it already is, by the way, and we're already well down the river, but I really don't want to say, oh, he's right or he's right, because I think there's both have been very, very wrong in this situation. I think the club has been really, really poor in handling it, because if there has been promises made and SALAH is right, then and he's been saying this stuff, then obviously the club has a duty of care and a duty in itself to look after what a club legend requires. Yes, he probably deserved a few games on the bench. His performance levels wasn't good enough. We've been speaking about it. We said, did Arne Slot have the balls to drop him? And he did. But maybe there's a deeper reason why he dropped him and why he has refused to utilise him off the bench, really, barring the Sunderland match. I don't know what's going on, but for me, I really think the only way to solve the situation is to sell Mo Salah and to remove the manager as well. I think that's the only way to solve it, because otherwise you're saying, if you relieve the manager of his duties and Mo Salah stays, you're saying that player power completely wins. If you completely freeze out Mo Salah, you're saying that the players have no say. Like, I think the club have really cocked it up, and they're going to have to remove both players from their duties. That's the only solution I can think of it, because it's been so totally poorly handled from top to bottom. It's a complete clusterfuck.
Conor, I think Chris has spoken what most of us are probably thinking, and that, yes, it wasn't the greatest of decision for Mohamed Salah to come out and say what he said. The club absolutely have to publicly be seen to back the manager, for the very reason that Chris so articulately said. You can't knock back the manager in this situation. You can't allow player power to start to become rampant. But I want to know, mate, where do you think fault lies here? Because it's easy for us to focus on Arne Slot and to focus on Mohamed Salah, but two people who have really escaped any type of public criticism of this are those above Arne Slot. We're talking about Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards here, because as Chris again so very well said, this is just a mess. There are no winners in this. The club looks bad, Salah looks bad, the manager looks weak, everything just looks messy, and it is so unlike the way our club operates.
Yeah, like, as much as I am pissed at Arne over the situation and just in general how bad we've been, I think a lot of my anger actually is aimed at the two lads, Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. Like, first of all, you could make an argument that they've probably tried, like, there's theories about that. They were obviously trying to flog Salah in January, put the pressure on Arne to drop him, then he's kind of scapegoat, sent off. Like, that is a completely feasible theory. On top of that, then, you have the fact that Arne Slot should have been sacked 3 or 4 weeks ago, and this situation could have been completely avoided. Now they've stuck themselves in this, where they have to get rid of the best player to play for this club in the last 10 years, and they're going to have to sack the manager as well, but have to delay that because they can't do like, they can't get rid of Slot and keep Salah, like Chris said, because that gives into player power. So they've just completely cocked it up, and it's just, again, it's such a complete mess, and they're escaping far too much criticism, because, like, even you go back to the summer, like, the amount of money we've spent, the squad planning, we spent so much money on players that the manager doesn't know how to use. We left some positions light. Like, it's just, there's so much criticism to be put out there that they're avoiding, and it's the whole thing's just a piss take. Like, I'm so, like, you know me, I'm fairly level headed and don't get wound up by stuff, but this is boiling my blood as well, seeing all the, like, club brief and stuff coming out about Salah. Like, the amount of hit pieces I've seen on the man the last 24 hours is completely stupid. And yeah, it's just completely boiled my blood, in all honesty, the whole situation. From every angle. Like, Salah as well, of course, has blame here, but yeah, the club more so than anyone else.
For me, the thing that I think is digging them far deeper into the situation is the club has 100% backing behind the manager.
That's like, bullshit.
It's absolutely waffle. How can you have 100% backing behind a guy who's delivered some of our worst results in over a century? Like, it's toxic positivity and toxic reinforcement. Like,
It's manipulation is what
it
it
is.
is. So I want to
they
go a
have to
step
be seeing
further,
what we're
Chris.
seeing.
And
It's so
I don't
stupid.
want to put words in Chris's mouth, so I want to be very clear. These are my words. I'm noticing a very clear divide on how this is being covered. And I don't think I'm the only one. I've seen a good few accounts on X post this out as well. There is very clear which ones have been briefed by the club with the club sources say stuff. And it's no accident that the same group of people that always seem to have these briefings from the club that are waffle, like Liverpool have no intentions of signing a goalkeeper in the upcoming window. Welcome, Georgie Mamadashvili. It is very clear now that we are being manipulated, that the club are trying a divide and conquer strategy, and that there is a battle for hearts and minds. Now, that wouldn't be unique to our club in this situation. But for me, mate, there is a very clear difference between, and I'm going to use an example here, Henry Winter and how he covers it, which is very nuanced. Like we've all said, a bit of blame here, a bit of blame there. Wasn't a good look for Salah, but clearly something's wrong in the dressing room. That's more than fair. You contrast that to the Paul Joyces of this world, who are out there basically just spouting shite that nobody believes.
Yeah, I personally, I understand, having been in press rooms, sometimes how it works, and like this situation, the club doesn't. Well, the journalists themselves don't want to lose their contacts at the club, and from that situation, they are going to take that brief, which is in its own way, as you said, manipulation. Because if you're being told someone by if you're going to bite the hand that feeds you, that takes a bit of bravery. Because these guys, their livelihoods probably rely on Liverpool and the relationship they have with Liverpool.
It speaks to a bigger power struggle, though, the imbalance of power the football clubs have over their entire brand.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's if we continue to hear this sort of overly toxic, positive reporting and the bashing of players to try and flog them out to dry. And maybe even, we might see when Slot leaves, there might be pieces coming out saying, "Oh, it was always going to go this way." Like, we need to look. Maybe we need to look higher. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know where to blame, and I think that's where the biggest frustration is, because there is a bit for everyone here.
So, Connor, here's where my head's at with this. I can see a world where Michael Edwards didn't want to give Salah the deal because of the things we know about Michael Edwards, players over the age of 30, the intensity of the way that Jurgen has had us playing over the years, how players can burn out from that. But it became so undeniable last season that Mohamed Salah was delivering, and he was delivering goals aplenty, assists aplenty. The entire fan base was behind him. And I wonder, did he come to the conclusion at the end, and I am thinking out loud here, that, okay, let's give him his deal. If he continues to play well, win-win, Liverpool continue to do well, we look like geniuses and trophies are coming. But if he doesn't, we have a very easy way to scapegoat him, to cause a divide, and to then recoup some of that money that we've given him. It doesn't take too much of a leap of faith to think that could have been part of Michael Edwards' thinking here.
Yeah, it's not the most unfeasible thing. Like, I don't know if I'd go as far as to say, like, he engineered the whole downfall of Salah this season to try to flog him, but, like, I'm sure he deep down...
No, I don't mean to say that. I mean to say, because his form has been bad, he's looked at this and gone, here's an out.
Yeah, definitely. That's probably a bit more feasible in fairness. But I think, like, he definitely won't be unhappy about how this is played out, because, like, even, like, Salah just... Like, there is probably an argument to be said, like, there probably is 1% chance that he kind of orchestrated this to be like, right, well, if Arna drops Salah, we know he'll come out and say something, and then we pounce on that, sell him. Like, there is some feasibility to that, but definitely he won't be unhappy about how this is played out, because, like you said, the big contract, he's protected the asset, he knows he can now probably go into the January market and probably get somewhere around the £100 million for him if Saudi come back in, and yeah, he definitely won't be unhappy about this one, because as we know, he definitely doesn't like giving big money to players over the age of 30, particularly not when they're like hitting up into 33 and 4. So he probably won't be unhappy about this. But yeah, it's just, again, what a crazy situation we're even in to be discussing this.
My question is as well, where was the captain? Why did the captain not? If the rest of the players are truly behind on a slot, where was the captain stopping Mo Salah going and doing this?
I was just going to come to you and ask that. Like, do you think as some people have tried to suggest. And look, we are, as fans, filling in a lot of gaps here. You know, we only have part of a story. Mohamed Salah said promises have been broken, but didn't lay out what those promises were. So what I want to ask you, Chris, is do you think Mohamed Salah is speaking for some of that dressing room by means of being frustrated, and he thinks, okay, I'm the guy, I'm going to come out and take this on my shoulders?
Not to
Maybe.
come across, but there actually was a clip
Go on.
of Van Dijk. I don't know if it was before or after, but he was in the mixed area and he said, let him say something about Salah. So, like, whether
Oh,
it was
really?
before or after, it definitely sounds like he's not completely against what Salah was saying.
So that I mean, like, for example, if the captain's not going and sort of grabbing him and saying like, right, come on, let's move on, like that confirms to me that it's just a completely like lost dressing room, and the stuff that's being reported is bollocks. So yeah, for me, the fact that Mo Salah was actually allowed to go out and say this stuff, I understand that he's going to be frustrated individually, but the fact that no one has actually gone across and said, no, let's not do this, like especially the senior figures in the dressing room, makes me feel completely that the players don't believe in the staff and the manager anymore. I like that. That's it. It's done. Why are we wasting our time?
Did you see
And that's
the
it,
press
and look-
officer in the background? One of the clubs.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
I was
was
going to say
brilliant.
that. Yeah, the guy with the yellow lanyard. And then he was on the phone. He was on the phone,
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
smart, typing away as well. No doubt that was getting relayed across. And look, that's his job. I don't blame the fella. He probably completely shocked. But I want to say, Conor, I don't think this is the end of this now. I mean, I made a prediction last week on the stream that this was going to happen, but I thought it would be when Mo went to the AFCON. Now I think it's going to ratchet up and intensify even more after he leaves after the Brighton game. And I also think that the sad part in all of this is people are maybe being forced to pick one side or the other. But the part that I want to continue to put across is the toxicity levels here is doing nobody any favors. The fan base is at each other's throats. They are looking for solutions. The club is looking like a laughing stock, and all the goodwill and positivity that came from an incredible transfer window and a fantastic season last season in the space of 4 or 5 months has been blown apart. And for that, there has to be accountability.
Yeah, like I feel like my ideal scenario, I would rather Salah not go, but I feel like there is no other situation where he actually stays. Like, let's say if he goes off to AFCON, Slot gets sacked in the meantime, Salah comes back. Like, can you actually integrate him back into the squad at that point, or does he have to still go? Because, like, I think the only clean solution is they both go. But like you said, accountability has to be taken somewhere. And again, like I've said it so many times, but Slot I think is a bigger problem than Salah, and he has to go. And Salah has to go as well, just purely because he came out with those comments. But it's hard to see way back other than that. Like they have to go, sadly.
So how do you think this pans out, Chris? And of course, again, we are guessing. We don't have the inside scoop on this. We're not one of the ones being briefed by club sources, surprisingly. So let us know what you think this plays out like, Chris.
What I would do, or what I actually think would happen.
How you think the next 2-3 weeks plays out or evolves?
Okay, I think the club will stick with a manager, whatever the results at the moment. I feel like that's their plan. Even though I think that's complete idiocy, and we're just throwing this season down the pan. It feels like that's what it feels like anyway. Salah will leave in January. That's what I think will happen, and it's an absolutely heartbreaking end to what is an incredible Liverpool career. And I feel like it's been engineered so poorly by everyone that, yeah, it's just sad, isn't it? Like, it's the whole thing is sad. When we were, especially in the last sort of 4 or 5 years, the picture of a well-run club. This is feeling all very Man United, and I don't like it. I hate it, because the one thing, they were going out, they brought in these egos and superstars, and everything up the top was like going. It was horrendous, and we were all pointing and laughing because, like, yeah, we were a very well-run club, and now it's like a soap opera involved in Liverpool. It's, yeah, I really hope something amicable gets solved, but I just think it's too far gone.
So I'm sure, Conor, you've seen the reports today that Liverpool were almost expecting. You could see Salah becoming frustrated with being left on the bench. So I guess the question I'd have is, if you really had the best interests of everybody at heart, why not sit down and have that heart to heart with Mo? And if you do just think he needs to move on, say it. Come out and be honest and have that conversation. But either way, they aren't stupid people. And I think they've tripped themselves up here somewhat by briefing that they were expecting some type of reaction from Mo, because they didn't proactively try to step in to stop it. They almost allowed him to then go have that rant. And now it's very easy to point the finger of vilification in one direction.
Yeah, like again, it feeds back into that theory. Like, did they almost see this coming and let him fall into that trap when they realised it was heading that way? Like, because like you said, like surely the sane thing to do is sit down, have an honest conversation, say, look, you're not up to scratch at the minute. We're going to take you out for 3 or 4 games, going to let it cool off. You go off to AFCON, you come back, start fresh. We start to rebuild you back into the team again, something like that. Or else, like you said, sit him down and say, look, we think we can't have you at this club anymore. We want to move you on. Like, just anything other than what happened. And again, I go back to Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards. Like, just the general management of all this is just ridiculous. And then like Salah saying he has no relationship with SALAH anymore, and when he asked why he was being dropped, he got no explanation on that. Like, it's inexcusable. Like, it's just such poor squad and man management all around. Like, it's baffling. But like you said, yeah, surely just sitting down and having an honest conversation could have stopped a lot of this headache for everyone.
Which tells me that they just didn't want to do that in my mind, Chris. That's where my head's at. So look, let's have a quick look ahead to tomorrow night's game, Inter Milan. First question I want to have is, do you think he plays Canade? And if he does play Canade, what's the backlash?
I think he does play Canate, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there will be huge backlash, to be honest, because, well, who else is there really? Like,
Gomez.
We got Gomez, I suppose.
Well, is he lucky? Anyone?
We need a bit of lucky. We need lucky. We need to count on lucky start.
Endo. Like, at this point, we're not looking for the greatest centre back in the world. We're just looking for somebody to do the basics without shit in the bed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't. I feel like he will play him though. But the fact the one thing before even the Salah stuff came out that surprised me was that Arna came out and said that Canate was too much at the crime scene this season. That because it's not really his style to come out and do that. So maybe he will show that frustration. And yeah, it's weird that, I don't know if you guys have thought about this, but like, when has a player's like performance levels gone down this badly when they're looking for a new contract or to sign a pre-contract anywhere else? He's actively warding off interest by how shit he is. Like,
and still not signing the contract.
Yeah, like how he can believe, or how he and his agent can believe that he is capable of being an elite earner at Liverpool by putting these performances in is bizarre. But yeah, I feel like he'll play, which is probably, good luck into Milan. Fill your boots.
So Chris said something there, Conor, that was basically not many other options, which fair enough. And this again points to the recruitment. And we asked the question, why in the summer did we leave it so late to make a move for Mark A? Look, we can talk about how unlucky we were with Giovanni Leone, but also he was one for the very near future. You still need your solid experience backup in there, or competitor for that position. And this is where, once again, mate, I would say that Messrs Hughes and Edwards and their we're cleverer than you tactics of trying to save a few million quid by dragging this out all summer has now come back to bite everybody in the ass. But they're escaping that criticism.
Yeah, but like you said, like realistically, Giovanni Leone was probably going to be in a similar situation to Rio and Gamoja. Like, he was going to be there getting a few games, but he probably wasn't going to be playing week in, week out. So we realistically only had 3 options, and it's just, again, it's just such poor squad management. Like, it's just so much blame for everyone. But like you said, like the fact that we didn't just spend the extra 5 million, get Mark A in towards the middle of the summer, have him bedded in, have a full proper pre-season, and then we actually have a lot of options for the season. Like, not saying it would have completely turned around our season or saved us, but it certainly would have given us a few more options and a bit better of a chance of going deep into multiple competitions. Like, the fact that we had to throw away the Carabao Cup as well, like, just speaks to the lack of squad depth as well. Like, it's just, again, poor squad management.
That's what that throwing away the Carabao Cup was the one thing we were told that this transfer window was going to stop us from doing again, which again, there seems to be a lot of revisionism about what was said and what's actually happening, and a lot of people again excusing that, which we'll never be part of. The midfield, Chris, I want to just give you my take on this. I think the balance is wrong in there, but more importantly, there's not enough bite in the midfield. We're too easily to play through. We're too easy to bully in there. Gravenberch isn't a 6. McAllister's form hasn't been up to its usual standards. And Szoboszlai is absolutely pulling his weight. There's no denying there. He's been doing his bit, but it just doesn't strike me that he can get this right and he can solve it with what's here, which again just kind of makes you confused about what the plan was.
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely like. I look at last season, and the difference in that midfield to now is like it's like night and day, really. Thought Gravenberch and Szoboszlai started the season really well. I think Gravenberch has been really poor the last few weeks, like really poor. Szoboszlai has been pulling his weight. There has been a few games recently as well where I think he's again not been up to scratch, but he's got the credit in the bank. McAllister, I mean, I heard Conor, over the last few weeks, like it's not been spoken about enough. Like with this is a guy who was rated as probably one of the best, if not the best midfielder in the league last season, and he looks like the most easily ran through midfielder. Like it looks like you could just sort of shove past him easily. It doesn't feel like he has the bite that he had, the thing that really made him stand out. So yeah, I thought Jones was okay in midweek against Leeds.
I've been one of his biggest defenders recently because he is showing that passion. And one thing I always say, Chris, about Jones is love him or loathe him, he doesn't hide from the ball. He wants it.
Yeah, I think he might get given game time in Milan for it. But yeah, I don't know how to solve that issue really, because we've obviously molded Gravenberch into this 6, but we've lost a lot without having a traditional 6 in there as well.
So this isn't on our agenda, but it's something that came up a little bit earlier on that I just wanted to quickly do a few minutes on before we finish up. So reports coming out, Conor, suggesting that Xabi Alonso is walking a tightrope, to say the least. And if he doesn't get a result against Manchester City, then it's adios for him. Which, look, let's be honest, there's no big surprise at Madrid. This is the way that club operates. Chris talked about player power earlier on and how we can't let it get into ours. It's absolutely running the show over there by the looks of it, player power. So I want to ask, if Alonso gets fired, do you think the conversation happens then about Arna and Xabi Alonso maybe coming in? Because one of the things that went against Alonso, apart from the fact that he probably wanted the Madrid job, was the system. The system would have been, again, an upheaval according to the way that we play with a 4-3-3. But I would argue, and I have argued most of the season, I actually think some of the players that we bought in the summer unlock the ability to play with a 3 at the back if you can get a centre-back or 2 in January. So a lot to unpack there, but I want to know if you think it's realistic or just, me putting one and one together and coming up with whatever number.
Well, I think that's the most popular question everyone likes to ask. Like you say, you're SALAH, but who do you get? It's like, well, that's one, not my job, and two, Xabi Alonso is right there. Like he's about to lose his job. Like if it's not this week, it will be next week. So whether we get an interim manager in the meantime and then get Alonso at some point, I think he is the obvious candidate. But like you said, maybe a small system change will be required, or else, like you said, build up for next year, get another centre back or 2. But definitely the profile of the squad we have would certainly lend itself to the 3-5-2, or kind of a Kirkes and Frimpong, let's say, on either wing, or there's definitely the players there to utilise it. So I think conversations should happen. I'd be shocked if they didn't happen, and it just makes sense. It just really makes sense. The timing couldn't be better. In fairness, he should have been gone weeks ago, but surely the next few weeks he will be gone, and then Alonso can come in. I think that would be an ideal situation, in all honesty. And if not that, then just get Gerrard in for a few months. I'm sick of it at this point. Just get anyone else in at this point.
Imagine this, Chris. Imagine this. We wake up next week, Alonso's been fired, Arna gets the boo, and we're hearing that Xabi Alonso's going to come in and that Steven Gerrard's going to be his number 2 for the short term to help him embed into the process. How would you feel about that one?
8-year-old me would be screaming, bro. Those are the 2 favorite players when I was a kid, and Torres as well. If Torres came back as the fitness coach,
the 8-year-old you that would have, I don't know, been playing with Lego.
No, I was playing Football Manager, to be honest. That's what I was doing when I was 8. yeah, like, it would be really cool. It would be cool. I'm a little bit reserved about Alonso because I'm always reserved about, former players going back, but it does happen. Kenny Dalglish is one of the most successful managers of all time at Liverpool, and he was incredible. It would break my heart if Xabi Alonso was bad. Like, it really, really would. It would kill me. But I really want to give him a chance. And if the whole Real Madrid thing doesn't work out, this is a real good opportunity for him as well. And also adding on to that, if we were going to play his system, it would actually, it probably wouldn't suit Mo Salah if we're looking at it like that. And I think
look at Ekitike and Isak up top with Wirtz in the hole.
Yeah, I also think Gakpo could play up front as well as an option. So that's it probably wouldn't suit Mo Salah. So maybe that's the big 4D chess play from Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. They were planning it all along.
But even at that, I'd still say sack Arna anyway. At this point, I think whatever happens there, Conor, Arna should be gone at this point because every game he's here for us, we're still dropping points.
Yeah, like even the reports again, I don't want to keep banging on about these articles, but whatever I can't remember the exact wording, but it's pretty much the club have seen improvements in recent weeks and it seemed to be more defensively solid. We conceded 3 against Leeds and got 5 points against Leeds, West Ham and Sunderland. If that's the level of improvement we're looking for, we are finished as a football club. That is on its own, it's bad. That's the improved version of this team. And the wealth of talent we have, we can't be just settling for that. Either way, he has to go, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion at this point. It's gone on too long already, and
and his legacy is starting to be ruined. His legacy,
exactly, we're getting sick of him at this point.
In some people's mind, it already is ruined. So, that's a guy who's won us the 20th Premier League title, and
I'll tell you how bad it is because I'm considering growing hair. That's how bad it is. I don't want to be lumped in with Arna.
Please, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see little Craig Mohawk. Bring it out.
You had to bring in Mo there just to make me sad just before we finish up. So look, I can give you my prediction, gents, because the preview video is already out there. I've gone for a 1-1, an optimistic 1-1, Chris, away against Inter Milan. But what do you think happens score-wise?
I'm going to say we're going to win because but we're definitely going 1-0 down. As I say every week, we're going 1-0 down, but we're going to come back and win 3-1, and we're going to see 3 set-piece goals from Liverpool. That's my prediction. Right,
so Conor, back to reality. What do you think is going to play out here, mate? Is Canada going to take the ball and run down the locker room and just refuse to bring it back out?
Yeah, I think that's the only way we have a chance, to be honest. Going to predict a win because I don't like to predict anything other than a win. I'm going to say 2-1. We'll go behind, but we'll get back somehow. And just to be a little bit more realistic than Chris is, I'm going to say we have a cross goes in and light falls from the stadium up the top and just bounces off that into the goal. I think that's more realistic than 3 set-piece goals.
Well, that or a road to beach ball goal, one or the other.
That, yeah.
I reckon that could happen.
I'll take it at this point. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Do let us know your thoughts if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching us on Spotify, don't forget to leave us a rating. We do appreciate your support, and of course, we'll be back. Whatever the fallout may be over the next week or so, we'll be back for another episode too. Thank you for your time. Thank you to Conor and Chris as well. We'll talk soon. We're off to build Lego.